Welcome to Married AF. We are your hosts, Brooke and Randall Fowler. On this show, we discuss the topics that really matter.
Like big veiny cocks and our favorite TV shows.
So pull up a chair at our kitchen table and hang out.
While I bulldog my nuts.
Can already hear you drawing on that mic stand.
I am excited about this one.
I know.
I have no idea why in the shit and how in the world we've managed to have Kristin Beck coming on our show, but for fuck's sake, unless that was her canceling.
No, that was Richard.
Okay. She will be coming on the show, and I'm stoked. Yeah, so we got a huge show tonight. I think it's...
Did you even say her name yet? Sorry.
Yeah,
I was distracted
Kristin Beck.
Okay, I was distracted by my phone. Yeah, that was Richard telling us to take a shot.
Oh, yeah. We will be taking a shot.
Have to go cell phone, she said. Her Skype is locked out.
That's fine. Yeah, so...
Totally fine. We've had plenty of Skype issues on our own.
So, pretty excited. Had a good turnout of questions, and got to give props to old Dr. Muddington. He came through with some...
Dr. Muddington always
really
comes through with...
You know, people... I love that people love Muddy for his fuckery, but, you know, they don't know the other side of...
That he's really a super smart...
That he's very smart, very intelligent.
He's not
loving, charming guy. You know what I mean? Like, he has two... He's bipolar as fuck, is what I'm saying. But he has two totally different sides, and he's very smart.
He's got many layers.
Yeah, which why he works as my friend.
I was about to say, which is why we're friends.
Yeah,
because...
But he has some very good thought-provoking questions, and he's obviously a big fan of
But he's
Kristin,
also a rascal.
He is a rascal, but he knows when to pump the brake, and he was legit in these questions.
Absolutely.
So
he's sent in many a legit he's thought-provoking question.
He always does well, and he knows when to send in the ridiculousness. So props to Dr. Muddingfuck. Yep. And you'll be hearing some of your questions tonight, hopefully. Hopefully I don't make any mistakes or start crying or shit myself during this interview, but we shall see. You know, we're not pros.
I don't like this question.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Who asked that?
I don't know. That may not be a doctor. You can save it to the end if we may not have time for all these.
And I'm going to see how I'm feeling about...
Yeah, that's all you can do. Gauge it on how you're feeling. Yep. So
about how our relationship is blossoming throughout the conversation. I
know. What I'm worried about so bad is that we're always due for somebody to hate us because
why are you putting that out?
So good.
Why are you putting that out in the universe?
I'm an idiot.
Ow.
Look at that little spiky
I know.
thing.
Yeah.
Stay
away from all the computer buttons.
Yeah, we've got a weird, nasty shot too. I found a rogue bottle, like a airplane bottle of brandy. And so I made us a second shot, and it might make us vomit. It's brandy with a splash of apple juice. I think it's called like a Colorado cider.
It looks a lot like whiskey or...
It looks like a whiskey tits.
So it like looking at it makes my mouth water and kind of makes me like... Ugh.
Yeah. Me too. I'm not excited about that one. You want to do that one now, and let's get it over with so we don't throw up on Chief Beck?
Do we refer to her as Chief?
That's what's on her Facebook page. I think Chief is not in any way
the public Facebook page, yeah.
Yeah, she goes by Chief.
I'm so nervous about this shop.
Love you.
Love you.
Shit. She's already done hers and I haven't. Can't do it.
Just as I suspected. Just fucking do it, man. I just did mine.
I still haven't done it. Oh, it tastes so bad.
It's not, I mean, it's got a real,
All right, here we go. Fuck
nasty,
all that.
Oh, God, it's got like a nasty fuck whiskey
1, 2.
punch.
Nope. Here we go.
You got this.
1, 2. Nope. It smells so strong. Fuck that. Here we go. 1, 2. Nope.
Do it.
Just fucking... You count, and then I'll do it.
1, 1.5, 2, 3. Exactly.
It's good. It's tastes like my dad's breath during childhood.
Gross. It does kind of taste like Crown.
Royally.
Yeah.
It tastes like his breath always smelled.
I knew you were going. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. That like punch in your throat right after you take it is like Crown.
There you are, Dad. All right. Well, I think it's showtime.
Oh, man.
Are we going to pause it and call her? Or just be going balls deep?
Still trying to shake off that shot. Okay.
Let's pause it, bring her on, and then we'll start again. So when we get back, we'll have Kristin Beck. All right, we're back, and we have Kristin Beck here with us, retired U.S. Navy SEAL, senior chief. We're kind of starstruck right now, Kristin.
Cut it out.
No, we're longtime fans. We've followed you for a long time. This is really, really an honor.
Yes,
Thank you for coming on.
Appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much.
Well, now that we've done that, the first thing I wanted to ask, because of course, a lot of people, maybe the last thing that they saw is a recent, they went on Hulu or something and watched Lady Valor, and in that, I remember you talking about that you were having, some mild health issues. So I want to know, how are you now?
I still have a lot of injuries from service. I think we all do, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Going to war and doing the stuff that I had to do is just not something that we should do as humans or as spiritual beings. It takes away a piece of your soul. And I just think that's something that I wish the politicians would serve, and go to war and do that, because then they would know how devastating it is to everything, to life on this planet. And I wish we had more veterans in office. I wish we had more people who understood the tragedy that's created by not coming to, compromises or diplomatic solutions or any other solution besides, the full-on battle. So I think the biggest thing for me is just trying to heal up my spirit, my soul.
Yeah, well,
and that's why I think that's why I try so hard in my work right now as a human rights activist, as a civil rights activist, that when I see people who are downtrodden, I see wrongs, I fight so hard to make them right, to try to make up for. I don't know. It feels like I'm putting a puzzle back together, and the puzzle is broken apart.
Yeah.
Because of being a war, seeing the devastation and seeing lives lost, and the sadness of the people that we affected, and that affect us. In New York City on 9/11, there are so many tragic stories, and so many people are hurt. So that puzzle is broken in my own personal life. My soul's broken, and I'm trying to put that puzzle pieces back together.
Well,
that's a good analogy.
I agree with, I can only imagine some of the things I have no idea what it's like. Some things I agree with you 100% on that you just said. But one thing I wanted to ask you, because you touched on something that I'm also passionate about. I like politicians that have served. I wish more, they would do, if their children are serving, I think that gives them a better feel for some of their policy. But I was wondering what your thoughts are on General Mattis.
He's seen a lot, and you can't underestimate real life experience. 'Cause, you can read in books, and that's what professors are okay. I have a lot of respect for professors, but most professors I know, they read a bunch of books and they spent a lot of time in school, and they went to the classrooms and they fill the tests out and they get PhDs and they start teaching. But the experience. So Mattis studied the books. He's that guy. He read every book there is on tactics and everything else, and he knows the consequences. He knows the strategies. He knows the human condition as a warrior, and he's been to war and he's done it. And so his experience is vast. He didn't just read the books; he's done it all. And I think that he's in a spot right now where he's trying to balance it between the White House and DOD and a couple of wars going on. There's probably 4 different wars going on that people don't understand, and I wish people would understand the depth of the actions that we take, or how far affecting things happen. And so that's what he's trying to think of. It's like it's further than a chess game. Mm-hmm. We're talking about 1,000 moves going on all at once. And he makes that one little move and it affects millions. Yep. And he knows it. He's got that experience. And so he's trying to balance it between the White House, between the public good, between the DOD, between all the people that work for him, who are hundreds of thousands of people, to balance all that and make it all right. He's the right guy for the job. I think he's in a tough spot.
Agreed.
You know, because you know that, I mean, I don't want to get too deep into politics, but there are things that we could do differently, especially here in America, to heal up the divide. I don't like the fight that's going on right now between the Trump administration, the White House, and the Republicans. And then you have the Democrats, and you have who are the puppet masters right now within the Democrat, regime. I just think Hillary Clinton is still a big part of that. Mm-hmm. You know, and so is, President Obama. He's still a really big part of that. There's a lot of leaders within the Democratic Party that could help heal it. Then there's leaders between the GOP that can help heal it. But none of them want to.
No, they just keep making the divide.
All they want to do is fight, and it's the wrong thing to do. It's the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. They should be figuring out a way to kind of make everybody come together more instead of making this divide more.
We have to heal up.
Yeah.
And you have the resistance movement, and you have a lot of other movements who are they hate President Trump so badly that no matter what, all they're trying to do is get him impeached. All they're trying to do is get him thrown out. All they want to do is see him in jail. And it's like, well, he's there for a couple more years.
Right.
And there needs to be some way to figure this out and to move forward. Like resist it. Resistance is fine, but not, annihilation. So they should not call themselves a resistance movement because they're doing much more than resisting. Mm-hmm. They should call themselves the annihilation movement. Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
I try so hard to work with those folks. I spoke with General Kelly for a while, and I had a really good conversation with him. We spoke for almost 15 minutes about a few different things. And I'm standing there, Navy SEAL, with my medals and my SEAL team pin on, and in a really cute dress.
Oh, that blue dress?
No, it was a different.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I looked super cute when I was talking to General Kelly. But it was a thing. I was just standing there, and he's looking at me, and he's listening. He's nodding his head, and he's speaking to me, and he's very respectful. And we had a great conversation. And I'm going to see if I can get a meeting with him in his office, up there in the White House, because there's things that we can do to move forward. And it's not me moving forward. It's not my movement of what I want to do in my life, because that would be selfish of me only to worry about me. And so the things I'm talking to General Kelly about is veterans and what's going on in the veteran population right now. If we have 22 veterans committing suicide each day, I don't even know what the number is. We got to do a better
job with veterans.
But I'm working with a group called Wounded Paw Project. Mm-hmm. And so we rescue dogs from this humane shelter. There's thousands of dogs being put down almost every day.
Oh, my God.
We save those dogs. We train them to become service dogs. And then we give them free to veterans.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
I know veterans whose lives have been saved by dogs. Mm-hmm. I have one veteran who actually had the gun in his hand, and he's sitting there freaking crying, has his gun in his hand, and he's getting ready, and the dog jumps up on him and gets his arm away from, and pulls the arm away from his head.
Wow.
And then he looks at the dog and he starts petting the dog. He puts the gun on the table and he's just sitting there petting the dog.
Oh.
Wow.
And then there's a day. And then he starts talking to some other people. There's another day. And then he starts figuring out, he says, this dog just saved my life. And now he's one of my best friends.
Oh.
And this guy I'm talking about. And when you hear him talk about the story about how it really went down, you're just like, it makes my heart hurt.
Yeah, that makes
but it makes me happy also because the dog saved his life.
I know.
That is...
They're so... Oh, gosh.
It's incredible. I've got a question for you about the service dogs, because I saw something that you posted a while back, and Brooke, by the way, is a huge animal lover. We've had 3 dogs.
I know. Oh, it just makes me so
We've got 2 now. We had to put our golden retriever down a couple years ago,
that was
unfortunately.
My first child. Yeah.
But you had posted something about how you had a person at a bar trying to pet your service dog.
Yeah.
And how it got you so pissed off, and I never really knew. I've always known don't pet them, that they're working. But yeah, I want to hear exactly. So how deep does that go?
If people pet my dog, people do that.
You just walk by and like, hey.
And if you have a service dog long enough, you're going to have people breaking the rule all the time. But you have to understand what the rule is for.
Uh-huh.
So the rule, don't pet service dogs, is don't just walk up to a dog that has a vest on that says service dog or has, anything else. Just don't walk up to it and just start petting it without talking to the owner at least.
You shouldn't do that, period.
But the thing is,
dog.
Well, yeah, period. But people just, wag their tail. People wag their tails. They're going, oh my God,
I
know. Control. My dog does the same thing. But the people do that. And the reason you don't want to pet that dog is because if the dog is working for me, the dog is working for me. Now, if you go up and you distract the dog from its work and you pet the dog while distracting it, basically you're rewarding the dog for bad behavior. So you're confusing the dog.
Yeah. I never thought of it that way.
That's the reason. And people don't understand the reason is. So what I do is if I see people, that person over there, and it happened to me today. I was having my car worked on today. And some lady was just like, oh my God, it's such good. You could see it. I was like, oh my God, she's a dog lover. So I approached her with the dog and I said, hey, do you want to pet the dog? Because
Yeah.
And I try to be as friendly as I can be. And I said, but wait, hold on. Let me give the dog permission to pet you.
There you go.
And she was like, what? And because it was opposite of what she was thinking. I said, no, I want to give the dog permission that you're okay. Then the dog knows it's coming from me. And then your reward of petting him is because the dog listened to me to go talk to you. Do you see the difference?
Yeah, no, totally.
Well, I didn't even think of it that way.
Now the dog is getting a reward from another person because the dog listened to me.
Yep.
I never thought of it, but it would be confusing as shit. That would be very confusing if you were a dog and your reward system is getting flipped on you.
Yeah, I always just told
But
Randall,
the thing is it's me giving rewards and somebody else is helping me give the rewards. So the dog's like, oh my God, I'm getting rewards from two people for doing an awesome job.
But it's mom's
Do you see
decision.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so if people understood that's the reason, and let the person as a service dog, give them a chance. Yeah. Because everyone has a service dog for more than 6 months. People who are dog lovers, and you see it, and you don't know what's going on in that person's head that has a service dog.
Right.
If you just walk up and start petting it, you don't know how bad that day is for that person. And so the service dog, the owner, will gladly, hey, come on over, let's, give the dog a little break, and we'll pet him for a little bit, reward the dog because he's doing great.
Yeah.
And the service dog owner could be having a terrible, bad day, and just leave him alone. So I will approach you, and I'm going to tell you. I say, hey, I noticed you really love dogs. I can see it. You're staring at it. You're wagging your tail. And so I said, come on over and pet the dog. So give us a break as the owners of those service dogs because we know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm having a terrible day, and I just don't want to deal with this right now, and I want to get to the bank. I'm in line. I just want to get my money out of the bank and pay off this freaking speeding ticket this policeman just gave me. So, I mean, who knows what's going on in my mind?
Right.
Sure.
So give us a break. If you love dogs, we're going to notice it, and we'll do something.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because when we're out, I mean, I know that just from, being around animals forever. So, I'll just, smile and be like, oh. But and I'm trying to teach our son that's 4.
You can make a comment. Just say, wow, that's a really
beautiful dog. Yeah, and just keep going. I don't ever try and bother him. And my son, that he's 4, he loves dogs too, obviously. And he'll try it. And I'm like, no, baby, he has a vest on. See, he's working. You can't bother him while he's working.
Great to teach your young kids that. So the other thing I tell people is, and I have a lot of friends because of IEDs and everything else. We lost a lot of limbs over there. A lot of my buddies are all walking around with prosthetics, and a lot of my friends are in wheelchairs. And so think of that service dog like my friend has a wheelchair. The service dog gives people ability to go out in public or to do things further than they could do if they didn't have the dog, right?
Yeah.
The same thing with a wheelchair. So that wheelchair enables that veteran to be able to go out in public and do many things that he couldn't do unless he had that wheelchair, right? And so, but people don't walk up to somebody that's in a wheelchair and go, oh my God, it's a really cute wheelchair, and they start trying to pet the wheelchair.
That's a good point. Yep.
Or
try and lift it up.
How old is your wheelchair? Oh my God. How old is that wheelchair? It's a really cute wheelchair. But it might be it might be a little coarse for me to say that, but I want people to have it in their mind that having a service dog isn't a privilege. It isn't like an extra benefit. Well, you can bring your dog everywhere. I sure wish I had one. That would be like somebody saying, oh my God, you have a Purple Heart. I always wanted one.
Right.
It's just it's not a good comment.
No. Yeah.
So having a service dog is a total pain. If everybody has a dog, it's difficult. Everything becomes difficult. And but it helps me to do things further than I could. So just give us a break.
Yeah.
It's not a privilege. It's not a bonus. You know, you go over there for 7 combat tours and go do all the stuff I did and get blown up a couple times, and then we'll give you a service dog.
Right. I mean, clearly, when you see somebody with a service dog, something has happened, or they have something that requires it. So it's not, and you go somewhere, and it's like it's kind of. I'm sure, like, you feel like a distraction sometimes when you go in somewhere. Like, oh god.
I've had people actually say to me, "Oh my god, the dog is so beautiful. You're so lucky you got a service dog."
What?
And it's like, what?
No,
I'm serious.
That's just an ignorant comment.
You would not believe this comments. Sometimes it's just like, oh my god, seriously?
Really?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just don't think before they talk.
I know. God bless.
I bet they say that, and then they immediately are like, "That sounded so."
No, people are obtuse. Like, you just, they don't understand, and that's why I bring up the wheelchair thing. And I know it's coarse, and I know it might not be. The analogy is way off, but it's similar enough for people to get it in their head. You know, don't pet the wheelchair, and don't pet the service dog. Yeah. You know.
No, I like that analogy too.
And if it's okay with you, I forgot to do this in the beginning to tell you, but we have some questions.
Oh my god, you're recording?
Yeah, we're recording.
Did I do anything bad?
No, we have some questions that, you know, like I said, we've known about you for a long time, been big fans and supporters. So I kind of want to ask a few questions that maybe people haven't, that they either don't know about you or you haven't really answered a lot before. Just to give a different, a side to your story that maybe people haven't necessarily heard before. Some of them, if that's cool with you, before we open it up to some listener questions.
I tell everyone that I speak to, and I speak in front of a lot of universities. I'm a professional speaker, and I guess by saying I'm a professional speaker, I do get paid to go to events. And I tell everybody, and especially the college, when I go to universities and colleges, I say, ask me any question, because I want you to learn right now. Everything's open. It's on a table. Mm-hmm. Because I don't want you to do it when you're out in public, and I don't want you to ask the questions to someone, when you're in a bar or you're in a situation. Where I want you to learn right now, because you can't learn when you're in a firefight. So ask the questions right now, learn it right now, understand where this is all coming from, because when you're out there in the real world, you don't have time for that. So let's do the questions right now. And that's why I say anything's on the table. There's nothing you can't ask me that I wouldn't be offended by or anything, because this is learning. Yeah. This is us having dialogue and education and hopefully some enlightenment.
That was one of the parts that I loved about Lady Valor, was that you're just, some people could automatically, put up a wall and be defensive when somebody uses like the non-PC terminology, or just like says things like when the one girl was like assuming that you were gay, and you're so sweet, and like the way you're like, well, no, I mean, it's,
I like people.
Yeah. I mean, I love your response to stuff like that. And it doesn't make you mad. You're just like, everybody's trying to figure out what's, how to navigate life in general. So I
think that I agree 1,000%. And it's probably one of the biggest things that I love about you also, is that if everyone could do that, I think we could make so much more headway, because I feel like the way that you, and I don't want to speak for you, so you can definitely say if I'm wrong.
You can. Keep going. You're doing great.
But I feel like looking at it through your eyes, you're like, you know what? I can tell if it's coming from a place of you being a dick, I'll know it. Right. But if it's not, I'm not going to, beat you up because you don't know the term that everyone wants you to use.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
And I'm not PC. I hate the PC police, just piss me off so bad. And I just want to punch them in the face. How's that for being non-PC?
There you go.
PC police.
Well,
but the worst ones are the Christians, because they start throwing Bible verses at me, and they pick and choose, and they always go back to the Old Testament, Leviticus. And I just keep saying, well, wait, you're talking about the Old Testament. And they go, yeah, and it says this, and they start throwing more verses. I said, hold on, wait, you're talking about the Old Testament. And they go, yeah. And they're so fired up. And I go, hold on, so you're a Christian. And they go, yes, I'm a Christian. And I said, well then, so Jesus Christ died on the cross, and it's called a new covenant, which is the New Testament.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we don't sacrifice goats on the mountaintops anymore. We don't do a lot of things because that's all Old Testament, because he died on the cross for the new covenant. It's the New Testament. It's all of this. So basically everything in the Old Testament, we want to put it in a box, and they're great lessons and a lot of really good stuff. But the New Testament is the new covenant. So let's live by that. So let's read the Gospels And then I start talking about the Gospels to him, and I talk about, 1 John 4:20, and I start going on a whole bunch of things about how can you love me who you've never seen, God, yet hate your neighbor who you see every day.
Well,
and it's basically, I go through these verses within the Gospels, and then they sit there and they just start staring at me. And I go, well, hey, listen, me and Jonathan Falwell, who you call Jerry Falwell now, Jerry Falwell Jr., I used to sit next to him in class, in high school. And I said, so I've been to all these schools. I've read the Bible a few times, and I haven't read it, from front to back. Have you read the whole thing?
Yeah, I mean...
And they're sitting there still staring at me.
They didn't expect that to come from you.
And it makes them so angry.
Well, you're an ordained...
That was true.
You're an ordained minister, aren't you, Kristin?
Yes.
That's an interesting... That was a question that was coming up next, so that's why I was trying to stop you before.
I'm jumping all over the place.
No, I didn't want you to reveal it, and then I was going to be like, damn it, that was one of my good questions that people may not know. So will you talk about that? Because you are a ordained minister, and you study mysticism, don't you?
Yes.
Yes. So
that's really cool stuff.
Yeah, I know. I'm hoping you can enlighten us on it.
So life on Earth didn't start 2,000 years ago. Life on Earth didn't start 4,000 years ago. Life on Earth didn't start with Noah or anything else. There's a lot of stuff going on. And we're talking about like a Eurocentric and Middle Eastern centric. What was going on the other side of the world? And when we start talking about Christianity and the Bible and everything else, and when we start getting very Eurocentric, which is what we do, we're a very selfish group of people, the Christians, because we think that, Eurocentric and Christianity and Catholicism, that's the only thing and everything spreads out from there. But then they forget about the Americas, they forget about Asia, they forget about so much more of the world. And so I've been trying to dig in through the past and see where all these things parallel up and where they connect. And you have to do that. You have to go back, 10,000 years. Mm-hmm. And you start putting all these pieces together. And when you do that, you find, astrology, and you find the stars and the planets, and you find things that are lining up, and you start seeing the bigger picture of the whole thing. I think what we do as Christians and what we do as a Eurocentric population of people or a race, I don't even know what you want to call us, Catholicism and all the other ones, we are so selfish and so self-centered that we forget about so much. We forget about all the African culture. We forget about all the Asian. We forget about all the history and the immense amount of knowledge that was built up. We just take it away. We just get rid of it and make believe it didn't exist, which is foolish. Mm-hmm. But if you could take that, let's say it's a giant painting. And so Eurocentric and Catholicism is very young compared to Earth and the human species, going back to even the Neanderthals, which I think were probably pretty smart in a lot of ways. But, that painting is very small. You're only talking about maybe a few square inches of a painting that's, miles and miles long and wide. So if you're only talking about a few square inches, how do we see that painting? How do we see the whole thing without opening up the apertures and start looking at everything else? And then we try to put it all together. And mysticism is a part of that. Paganism, which is what I'm really into, but the Catholics gave the word pagan, and there's a lot of other things that were pushed on our peoples. And also millions and millions of, and I just have to keep using the word pagan, millions and millions of people were killed in the name of Catholics, in the name of, that movement, the entire thing. Mm-hmm. And everybody forgets that. And so what were they doing before all this happened? And you go into the Druids and some of the earth spirits, but they were very close to the earth. They were very close to the ways of the world and how the world changed. And this is what's great about being a farmer. That I live with the seasons. Mm-hmm. And so when you see the summer solstice, when you see the equinoxes, when you see how everything changes, it's all the cycles of life. It's their birth, it's growth, it's getting there. Then you have the harvest time, and then you go into deep sleep. And it's just huge cycles. And then let's look at this giant painting I just explained, being a mile wide, a mile long, this huge, huge painting that we keep only looking at a few square inches. Mm-hmm. If you can really understand the earth and really understand the cycles and get close to it and live with the dirt, take your shoes off and walk on the earth and see the dirt and get dirty, there's an immense amount of power in Mother Earth. And I think that's what we forget with the more modern religions. I think the old ways, there's a lot of knowledge that we lost because we think it's primitive. And the thing is, it's not. I mean, they had an immense amount of wisdom, because there was generation all passed down, most of it word of mouth. We lost a lot. But they lived with the earth. They lived through seasons, and they did that. And it was all the cycles of life. And they had to work with the earth. They had to give and take. You can't constantly plant corn in just one field year after year after year for 20 years later, all corn. It'll never survive. And so we rotate the crops, and we let it go fallow, and we work with it. So they understood the cycles, and they understood how to work with the earth and do this and replenish and give it time to heal back up. And we don't do that. All we do is we strip mine. And so we're strip mining the earth. We're strip mining our souls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as a culture, all we want is that give the tithing, give your 10%. Here's the money to build a bigger church. We need another parking lot so we have more people showing up.
Yeah,
to get
need a new
tithing,
jet.
do this.
Mm-hmm.
And
then
they pave everything to have more people show up to give more tithings to worship a God that is only 1 square inch of the whole painting.
Yeah, and I have a question for you.
So so I'm a little bit into mysticism and some of the old ways.
Cool.
I don't call it paganism, mysticism, or anything. I just say the old ways. And so if I study the old ways, that means I'm going back, 5,000, 6,000 BC. I'm doing the old ways. And I'm trying to make the old ways make sense in a modern world and working with, the Judeo-Christian and all the other tribes. It's the tribes of Abraham.
That's what I was just about to ask you about.
Christianity, Islam. There's 13 tribes. Mm-hmm. And all the 13 tribes right now are fighting. And this is one of my speeches I give whenever I go to some of these churches, is basically you have the 13 tribes. You have Judaism and Islam and Christianity. So the 3 major tribes that are left from the Abrahamic, times. Mm-hmm. And they're all fighting over the same prize at the end of the game, right?
Yep.
So there's a kingdom, there's a prize, there's a reward. So let's say it's like an inheritance, right? And so you have these 3 cousins, 3 brothers and sisters, let's just call them 3 cousins, fighting over the inheritance from their father that they don't even know what the inheritance is.
Yeah.
But they're killing each other over something that they don't know what it is, and they don't even know if it's just an apple at the end. Yeah. Oh yeah, here's your apple.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's
and then
always
they're going to take a bite of the apple and go, wow, that was a really good apple. But they just killed all their cousins.
Yeah, it's
Does
always
that even make any
weird.
sense?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I've always wondered myself 100% with the Christian Muslim conflicts, how there's so many more similarities than differences. And,
oh, God, thousands of similarities.
Yeah, I mean, and that there's a starting point that's the same, and we're killing each other. It's so weird to me, and I've always wondered how that feels, or if any of the guys out there are thinking that.
Just look at each other as family. Look at each other as cousins. And just say, yeah, that's my cousin. I don't really like him very much, but he's my cousin. He's family. Do it like a New Yorker would. Hey, he's family. He's kind of an idiot. I mean, he drives his car backwards down the road, and I don't really dig that. And he likes pizza. He likes like New York style pizza, but I'm a Chicago pizza. I like the deep pan. And then they're fighting over the thin New York pizza with a deep pan Chicago pizza.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're fighting over.
Yeah.
But they're cousins. Like, hey, we're family, and then you guys just need to get along. I don't know. I'd like to take the imams, the major ones, and get a whole bunch of the Catholic, the deacons and a lot of the higher ups in there, bring them all in the room, and give them some boxing gloves.
Right.
Say, okay, box it out, and they'll box for a couple of hours, and they're all going to get really tired. There'll be some bloody noses, and now they're all just tired. I say, okay, what'd you guys learn? So what's up?
Yeah.
Do we have to keep doing this? Because they're doing it on the outside world with guns, and they're actually killing each other. At least in the one big room, you get a little bloody, you get a little hurt, but you can walk away. And then they all go, yeah, this is kind of stupid. I said, yeah, there you go. You got it right now, finally. This is really stupid.
Well,
stop boxing.
If I remember correctly, that's a lot of what, and I agree with that so much to the point that it leads me to a lot of what you did as a SEAL, right, was diplomatic work. Is it true that like you could, there'd be times where you would be, fully bearded, properly attired, and you could be sitting in a village with a Taliban leader, talking it out?
Times. Yeah, tons of times.
Wow.
And I mean,
and
who knows
some of those
what
Taliban
happened?
dudes, I don't get it. It would be like this. He'd be like 17 years old, and here I am. I'm like 40 something years old. I've been through a lot, going all the way back. in the 90s with Somalia and going through Bosnia and all the other stuff I did all around the world, 5 times. So I have a lot of experience with a lot of different cultures, and so I'm able to, and I speak some languages. And so I'm sitting there across the table from the 17-year-old that's never left Afghanistan, and he's got this liquid eyeliner under his eyes as like he's the imam of that one tribe. So he's this holy, knowledgeable person who's never really left the village, never done anything. And he's sitting over there just like, he's got the, and I think they put the liquid eyeliner like under their lower, it's kind of, I don't know why they do it. But when they start squinting their eyes and all you see is like just almost just a straight black line, this evil stare, and he's just staring at you. And anybody who's been over there and had to deal with these guys and talk to them and try to have a conversation, they know exactly what I'm talking about right now. And so he's just sitting there squinting. He's got this just mean bugging. But then you have the old Mujahideen, this older gentleman in like his 60s or 70s, who was there fighting the Russians. And he's one of the tribal chieftains. And he's the only one I'm talking to because I can't get to the 17-year-old who's the religious leader. And Mujahideen is a tribal chief, so he's not a religious leader. And so there's this big battle going on between them and their own tribe. But me and a Mujahideen guy, we're just sitting there just drinking tea and we're talking about stuff and having these great conversations and getting through because I basically tell him, I say, I don't want to be here. I want to get all the Americans out. Right. How do we do that? And I said, I don't think we should be here. He goes, yeah, I don't think so either, the Mujahideen. And he said, I don't think so either. And I said, well, you had the Russians here for a long time and they destroyed your country. And I don't want to destroy your country. I want to help you have the cell tower over there. And I want to build that bridge that you were talking about earlier. And that one dam, because your dam was washed away and now your village, you don't have enough water to grow your crops and everything. I said, how can we do some of that? So as we're trying to figure out how do we get all the Americans out of here, can I help you build that dam or that bridge? What do you want me to help you do? And that was the conversation I had with these guys. And the whole time that Taliban dude is sitting there just mean mugging me. I'm so freaking angry. I'm going, dude, can I just build that bridge so you guys can rebuild your commerce and you'd not have to walk an extra 10 miles to get to the other village that's near you?
Was he trying to just tell you to like kick rocks and like, we don't need your help, but really we do, but I don't want you to know we need your help.
But it just turns into this battle of, I don't know what it was, but the Mujahideen dudes, I got along with a lot of those guys really well because it was always the same conversation. I said, how do we get everybody out of here? And I said, you're the elder, you're a tribal chief, you've been through all this before, and I don't want to do this anymore, and I know you don't want to do this. And they would really come up with some really good solutions about building stuff and this and that, and we can do this. And
then the eyeliner guy.
I made a lot of peace. I built a lot of bridges, like physically built bridges, but also that like a really good spiritual, good connections.
Well, I would imagine that the skill set acquired from a career of doing that you could probably read anybody and know if the shit's about to go real south or if it's, we're still in a good enough place to be civil.
Yeah. Well, going back to that one story that we didn't even finish about the dog in the bar.
Yeah, absolutely.
So dude was pool table between us, and I'm on a bench on one side, and he's on a bench on the other side of the pool table. And but there were in between tables, so there's a lot of area there. And I have my dog kind of in the middle there, so it was away from the table. And he started patting his leg like you do calling dog over.
Oh, yeah.
And he's doing the noises. So he's patting his leg and making the noises. And it's to the dog, and he doesn't know the dog's name, so all he's doing is making those noises. And I was like, hey, dude, can you stop doing that? This is a service dog. It's my dog. It's a service dog. This dog has helped me out. Can you please stop doing that? And he didn't really say anything, but he stopped for about a minute, 2 minutes. Then he started doing it again. And I was like, dude, seriously? And I was getting a little, I'm still sitting down.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, seriously, cut it out. And I was getting a little angry. And he stopped it for about a minute and started doing it again. And so I stood up and I walked halfway through the pool table and I started going, and I was like a senior chief would do to like an E1 or E2. And I was like, listen, motherfucker. Can I say that? You're going to beep that out? Beep. I was like, listen, motherfucker.
No, you can cuss all you want.
I'm going to get freaking angry, and the dog's not going to be working anymore because the dog isn't work because he's keeping me calm right now. But I'm going to get angry. I'm going to fucking kill you, motherfucker.
Wow.
And the guy was like still sitting down. He wouldn't get up at that point. He was just kind of staring at me.
It's like, well,
I was like, that's what the dog is here for. The dog is to keep my anger under control. The dog is here to help me out so I don't get anxiety and I don't get these. And now my dog is like freaking out right now.
Oh.
But it's one of those things where the guy was like, dude, I gave you a chance. I was just trying to say, dude, don't do that. It's a service dog. Leave him alone.
No, you were
that
justified.
Should have been enough.
And he pushed.
Yeah.
It was like, dude.
You were absolutely justified.
And then the bartender came over, and the dude was kicked out. And then the bartender brought over some beers.
Nice.
And said, do you guys want shots? And I was like, no, man, I don't want any shots. I'm already all riled up right now. But thanks for the beer.
Well, that leads to a question that Brooke had written down just about you fighting. That I want to make sure she gets to.
Oh.
It doesn't start with the fighting, but it's follow along. It's interesting.
I've never been in a fight. I'm crossing my legs. Does that count?
Never crossing. Yeah. So first of all, my dad is an alumni of VMI. So yeah, I mean he's like class of 60 something. So. But I like watching your documentary. I was like, I mean, you can ask right now. I was like, oh, when you went to the football game, I got so excited because I was like, and you were talking about all the traditions, and I just remember my dad telling me all the stories about when he was a rat and they had to stand up at the football games and the push-ups. I was just like tickled about that because you don't see very much about VMI. Like football games because it's not SEC, you know. So I love that part. But
and you brought up the best point about that. The reason I wanted that to be part of the film was exactly what you just said. It was about the traditions, and I think that traditions are really important, and I think that history is really, really important for us to grow as a society, for us to do better. And I don't like seeing history or tradition totally being wiped out for PC reasons.
Agreed.
Amen.
I think there has to be a way that we can balance it. And I think that this goes into like the Confederate statues and everything else. I say, the Confederates were basically traitors if you really want to look at it that way. And they were. They're the ones that were fighting against the country and trying to get out of the Union to do their own thing. And they lost. But there's still a whole bunch of statues around. There were some old statues. Some of them date back to the 1800s. But there's also some places like in Montana, they have some Confederate statues up. Which Montana wasn't even freaking part of that. They put these new statues.
That's as far away from Confederacy as you can get.
And so there's things that happen after the fact that might have happened in the 40s, 50s, or 60s, trying to like put down, our African American brothers and sisters. And if they're if those things are up there for those reasons to try to put down an entire race of people, then I 100% agree. But there's also places like VMI that was just there. It's a Southern institution. It's like the West Point of the South. And we have the statue of Stonewall Jackson that has been there, and he's a respected professor and a lot of other things. It's a tradition. It's a history, and it has nothing to do with – that's just – some of it we have to leave there as a reminder that you can't do this, and this is what we can do better.
Right.
We have to leave some of it. I hope that we don't totally get rid of all of it.
I totally agree with that. And that's kind of how my dad raised me, too.
Tradition is so important.
Yeah, and they should use that portion of the documentary, like ask your permission to use it as a recruiting tool, because they shot it so well. The campus is freaking beautiful. Yeah. And they captured the whole spirit with the game and the rats. It was incredible.
We've got my dad got because he's an alumni. He got when my son was born. Or when our son was born, he got like a certificate framed for him for like he automatically gets an interview to like go to VMI. So we've got it
of 2056.
Oh, it's 2036. And we've got it framed on his wall.
That's awesome.
That's
so cool.
Yeah, his name is Gunner, by the way. Our 4-year-old's name is Gunner.
That's great. I love you guys' Christmas photos too.
Yeah,
that sums up our household.
It does. It's a perfect snapshot. But I wanted to piggyback on the VMI part.
Well, you didn't even let me get to my question.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, finish it. She's got more. She's got another part.
Okay, so is it true that while you were there, you were known to challenge entire fraternities to fight you?
Dang, where did you hear that story? That actually happened.
Yeah, I think we read it in an old interview or something, but I didn't know if it would be true. But that's a hard ass.
I was at Sigma Nu, and we had a lot of friends who were at that one fraternity because that's a VMI. It was founded at VMI, Sigma Nu, and there's one other one. I can't remember the other fraternity. And then fraternities were outlawed on VMI because they were getting too crazy. They burned a couple of buildings down or something.
Oh my gosh.
So they said no more fraternities on VMI, but because Washington Lee is right next door, and they had another chapter of the same fraternity on Washington Lee, they survived. And so Sigma Nu, we became really good friends with me and one of my buddies, who's now like a police chief in San Bernardino, Los Angeles. So it's funny how stuff happens. But so we're up to that fraternity, and I guess some of these fraternities have such, hardcore rivalries that another fraternity come up there, and they were doing something, outrageous against Sigma Nu. And so me and Ron walked out there, and it was like 40 or 50 fraternity brothers out there. And so we challenged the whole group of people, because the Sigma Nu guys, I guess they were training to become lawyers or something, so they don't do anything physical. They just throw lawsuits at you.
Read. That's all. When you're in law school, all you do is read.
Yeah, memorization.
They were all just up on the porch, and they were just doing whatever they were doing. They were writing up lawsuits and legal documents against these 40 guys that were throwing beer bottles at us. And so me and Ron walked up there, and we were like, come on, let's go. And they said, we might get beat down, but we're going to take a bunch of you with us, and we're going to hurt you. We're going to hurt a bunch of you. And they were like, we don't want to fight. I said, what are you guys up here throwing bottles at the fraternity house for? And we're like, you're starting a fight, and we're going to finish it.
Right. Don't be assholes then. Are you going to...
And they all turned around and walked away.
Nice.
Well, that's kind of always been your part of your... and again, I'm speaking like me and you are best friends, and I know your inner workings, but I've just, I've read a lot about you. And you've kind of always been like a sheepdog, right? Like a stand up for the less fortunate or the smaller guy or people being bullied from the jump, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the best thing about me, the sheepdog, is that I'm always there. I'm always awake. And if the wolves look down there and they see there's 5 or 6 sheepdogs, and they know sheepdogs are strong, and sheepdogs don't want to fight. We're lazy. All we want to do is eat some food and maybe have a beer. But I'm here and I'm awake, and there's 5 of us, and so the wolves are looking down there and go, damn, they're on guard and they're really watching. Yeah, we don't want to mess with that flock. And that's pretty much it. All we have to do, I just know that if you come down here, we're gonna fight.
You're gonna get fucked up. Yeah.
Just go somewhere else. And that's the best resort, but you have to be on guard. And that's what I try at universities. I try to tell a lot of the women students, and I say, don't ever be off guard. If you're down there and you're not watching, something bad's going to happen. Well, so don't go out alone, and be aware. Have a couple of your friends with you.
That's just good advice for women in general.
Always one sober friend.
Yeah.
You guys pick whatever night it is. Designated driver. But also, if you're just walking somewhere, still have a designated driver. You're a designated person.
Yeah, designated just
and then just
human,
safety.
yeah.
But if you have 5 girls that are going out and they're doing something, and they're all together, one of them sober, everybody's having a great time, and then they all walk home together, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah. God, I was always that person in college. I would always have to end up being like the mom.
Stories too.
Yeah, even if I was drunk, I still would always have that radar, just because my mom
you have to.
She always raised me I always would tease her about she just always had the worst case scenario in her head. She taught me when I'm walking to my car by myself to hold my keys through my finger, so that if somebody typed me, I could stab them. I'm like, Mom, but then
it's a great idea. And if somebody approaches you and they see you holding the key that, put your fist up, they go, whoa.
Right. Okay. It's excellent advice.
They're not going to fight a kitten. They're fighting a tiger.
Exactly. Right. I will fuck you up. I will stab you with my keys. Don't even think about it.
That is definitely your mother. I can hear. I can see her telling you that.
I mean, she was the kind of woman that we would be in the house in the middle of the day on a Saturday. She's keeping all the doors locked. And who does that now, babe? That's me. When we're in the house, he can't even grill a hamburger outside. I'm locking the doors.
She's locked me out and locks.
I'm like, oh, sorry.
That's the best.
But yeah, I mean, so I love that advice for just women in general. Just always have somebody that's going to be alert, and because you never know. I mean,
because it will. I mean, the drinking, especially at college age, it gets out of hand,
and you become
so
vulnerable.
What's in that punch,
yeah.
Oh
my god.
We used to do those big punch bowls.
Hunch punch.
The hunch punch.
And it was and it had so much Everclear in it.
Oh my god.
And it would sneak up on you.
That's the worst night of my life at UGA. Was
I remember the hunch punch. Hunch punch.
But I want all the girls, and I aim this especially at the young women out there that have someone who's sober, not drinking at all, and then just rotate through whoever's got to have the duty, and be at least one other, 2 of you out together. It's better to have like 5 of you, gang.
Mm-hmm.
But
pull straws, something. Somebody's got to be alert and aware.
Yeah,
and that's the reason why I left sororities. So if you're in a sorority, at least you have all your sisters and you guys are a group, and you're going to help each other. So I say join a sorority. And I say fraternities, we should burn them all down.
Oh no, I'm just kidding. I know.
There's only that one fraternity.
Randall's a Pike. I hated fraternities when I was in college because I was kind of a little bit of a little bit of a freak, I guess. And when I first went to college, I went to LSU, and I got harassed by a bunch of Pikes that lived in my apartment complex. So it's just funny that I ended up marrying one. But
well, I went to a different school.
He went to a different school, but I found, when I look back, I'm like, because I ended up transferring to UGA and graduating from UGA, but I just realized that all the frat guys at LSU they were all dicks, and it didn't matter.
The reason I would say that about sororities, I want you to join the sororities. I want powerful sororities, and then the fraternities, I'm like, they're cool. I was a fraternity brother. I was in Delta Sigma Phi. But the reason I say that is because look at the mindset. Mm-hmm. If you have a sorority of a whole bunch of girls that are all together, they're joining together to be defensive. They're joining together to empower each other, to just try to help each other, right? But then if you have a fraternity, you have, 20, 30 dudes together. They're doing it more for power and conquest.
Oh, 100%. It's about
if you
sex and booze.
And don't we have enough of power and conquest from dudes?
Yeah. So the mindset is a problem. And so we could somehow switch the mindset of fraternities to, you guys have study groups and you guys empower each other and do this and help each other. And networking in fraternities. My fraternity, I have some great friends right now we still talk all the time. One of them is in rock and roll. He's like way up there in Pearl Jam and a bunch of other groups.
Is it Eddie Vedder?
I stayed passes to. So the networking is awesome.
Yeah.
But if they could only do that and not worry about the power and conquest, because as like a 20-something-year-old kid, all you want to do is conquest.
Right.
It's all about conquest. And so if there's a way we could change that mindset to make the networking more of the goal than the conquest.
Or could they make them co-ed? Why does it have to be fraternity and sorority? Just make them co-ed. Yeah.
Well,
it's a bunch of 20-year-olds though.
It'd be a lot of sex.
It would end up with a
lot of pregnancies or
birth control pills required.
Yeah. Well,
I'm being realistic. It's just
I'm with you. Old, What's your next question, babe? I know you got another one.
Oh, so you now have a beautiful wife, and as you said earlier, you're at your mother-in-law's house. You had to find a quiet place.
My wife is right in there studying for her master's. I think her second master's.
Oh, holy shit! Awesome. Second master's?
That's fantastic.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So she is former.
And she's an E6 in the Air Force. So she's enlisted E6.
Yeah.
Studying for her second master's, and she has this jerk colonels that don't have masters. They have their bachelors, and they just kind of floated. That are just totally, I don't know. I don't understand the rank structure sometimes in the American military.
So what
sometimes it doesn't make sense.
What branch is she in? Because that was she was former special ops. Okay, yeah. My dad was in the Air Force too. Mm-hmm. So how did you meet her?
So she worked at the Pentagon. She was there as security forces down in the depths of the Pentagon, protecting Joint Chiefs of Staff. And I was working at the Pentagon now. This is like 2012 or 13. 2013. And I'm walking through the Pentagon in a super cute dress. And
as always.
Somebody breaks in. I know, as always. I just put my leg up. I was like, super cute. So I'm walking through the Pentagon, and some dude breaks in. And he's running down the hallway.
What?
And then I see this security officer running after this dude that just broke in. And the security officer tackles this dude and then wrestles him to the ground, has him in a headlock, and it totally and I'm walking now towards him to see if there's anything I can do to help. And she looks up at me and winks.
That's
awesome. That is awesome.
That's like from a movie.
That is.
And it was her.
That's a movie right there.
That is awesome. And what are the chances?
No, I made all that up.
Yeah, what are the chances you're walking through the Pentagon?
Story, though.
I know.
So, we met almost like that.
Almost.
There was a Pentagon happy hour, and I put on Facebook that I was going to end up going to this Pentagon happy hour at a certain bar. And she showed up.
That doesn't a Pentagon happy hour
talking,
doesn't sound like
good conversation.
a barrel of laughs. So,
but which story is better? I mean, the same,
exactly.
Right?
But in your head, it was that like the fireworks
on the dude
and the.
I was like, yeah.
She sounds like that much of a badass anyway, so it totally could happen.
She has an Air Force combat action ribbon.
Oh, dude, that's fantastic.
Which I don't know how many female Air Force E6s, probably one out of the entire Air Force.
Wow.
So, which is pretty cool. People call her on it all the time, too. They see that badge, and they start doing like the stolen valor thing. You just know what you have that. How do you have that?
What? Because she's a woman?
It's so weird.
That's so fucked up.
Oh,
There's all kinds of prejudice against females in the military.
Well, that's my last question for you before we go into the listener questions, if you don't mind. This question's always bothered me, or not bothered me, but I've always pondered it. Do you think that we'll ever see a genetically born woman become a Navy SEAL?
Yeah. So would I ever see a female Navy SEAL?
Is it possible?
Yeah, probably someday. Here's the thing I got for you though, is that if you took 100 women who are all in sports teams, or all athletic, swimming or whatever, and you had them get up on a pull-up bar with a 45-pound weight on a belt, so they have 45 pounds extra, and you had them go up on a pull-up bar and do 30 pull-ups. So you had 100 women out of all these sports teams, rugby players, swimmers, lacrosse, all the other, so they're athletic. And you had 45 pounds, and you had them go up on a pull-up bar. How many pull-ups would those 100 women be able to do?
2.
On average.
Yeah, maybe 2.
Could they do 30?
No.
No way.
Okay, so here's the reason this is a really big test. That we have to do that, because basically I weigh 200 pounds. I have my body armor on. I have my ammunition. I have my weapon. I have some explosives. I might have a chainsaw on the back. We call them quickie saws. They got the big cutting wheels on them for cutting metal. So I'm carrying anywhere from 40 to 100 pounds on my back between ammunition, weapons, and all the other stuff. So I'm carrying 100 pounds.
Damn.
And I got to climb up off of a boat in 8-foot seas, and I got to climb up 40 feet.
Oh, that makes me nauseous thinking about it.
Yeah.
And you're climbing up, and it's basically doing pull-ups.
Yeah.
And so the test is there for a reason.
Sure.
And so any woman out there that wants to join the SEALs, start doing pull-ups. Because you have to do this. You got to do the rope climbs. You got to do pull-ups. You got to do that because of upper body strength, and carrying an immense amount of weight up a long ways is a crucial task to do our mission.
Sure.
And our primary mission is going from these small boats, climbing up on the big boats, and then we take over the big boats. That's our primary mission. That's it. And so if you can't do the pull-ups, then don't even try.
Yeah.
And you got to do it in a way that's kind of stealthy,
and I'm living on both sides of this equation.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, if I was benching 300, in the past, my bench is down to like 250. And so if you're doing hormones and you're doing a lot of stuff, I lost some muscle mass. I lost this. Women and men, chemically, things change and we're different.
It's just like evolution and just like, I mean, it's we're different beings. Yeah. I mean, even the most badass of badasses, Ronda Rousey, I guess, the baddest woman on the planet, she she would struggle with that. I mean, and it's.
But here's the thing. That's why I said we're going to have women SEALs
eventually.
We have a lot of women, and there's a lot of them. But what's the numbers?
Well, you've got to find.
So you have that one out of 100,000. How many out of that one to get that one person out of the 100,000? How many of them are going to join the military? How many of them want to be in the military? How many of them join the Navy?
Exactly.
And so you see the numbers start going down, down. Are we still going to get that one?
Yeah,
and then you have to ask, is the juice worth the squeeze?
Exactly.
So there's a whole bunch of things that we have to think about. And these are the things that General Mattis is thinking about. These are the things that all the admirals are thinking about. And I'll tell you what, the juice is worth the squeeze to have the doors open. And that's what I say right now. I'm not going to go out of the way and start searching and training and doing a bunch of stuff. I say the door's open. If you want to join the Navy, you want to do this, you want to come into SEALs, then rock on. Let's do it.
That's a perfect
answer.
It is. That's a perfect answer.
Part of me is like...
The doors need to be wide open and say, anyone who wants to try, come on, let's go.
Exactly.
The numbers are so small
for the
women.
But at the same time, when you show up there at SEAL team training, there's a cost. There's a money cost to everyone that shows up the front door.
Oh.
Because you have to fly them there. You have to get them the orders. You have to go through all this stuff. Then you start going through pre-training. Then you go to do training. And you're in a barracks. And you're eating food. You do all the other stuff. So you see there's a money cost for everyone that shows up. And so if 100,000 people show up, that's going to be a lot of money. You're talking about, a lot of, I don't know what, I can't even give you a number, but the more people that show up to that door that are unprepared, that only make it for like the first month, we wasted a lot of time and money for those 100,000 people to show up the door that can't do it. They can't even pass their first test.
Yeah.
And that's why I want the pre-test. I want you to, okay, you're at boot camp. You're here in college and you're thinking about wanting to win the SEALs. Well, get on the pull-up bar. Let's just do one test real quick. So if you can't do the pull-ups, then sorry. We don't want to give you the orders to waste the money to get you to the door for you to fail anyway when you get there.
That's the truth.
So come back next year when you can do the pull-ups.
I mean, I know the one, like, I don't know, it was like, 15-second clips of, like, in the documentary about, like, Navy SEAL training where they were, like, diving in the water and getting punched in the face. I was like, fuck that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm out. I'm out.
And they're not even showing bad stuff because they can't show the bad stuff on TV.
Yeah, I mean,
I've heard everybody, like, Tim Kennedy
don't you do a drill, or it's required in BUDS, where basically you're underwater with your breathing apparatus and your instructor will remove it, tie it in knots, all kind of stuff.
They do more than that.
And you have to stay under.
They're punching you in the gut and trying to make you lose all your air.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh,
they do everything they can do to make you panic. And the thing is you have to sit there like a freaking Zen Buddhist, like underwater.
You have to be like, it's cool,
so you're
brother.
Underwater meditating with no air. And you still have to keep doing that until he taps you and says, okay, go up.
I mean,
and you're out of air. You're dying underwater. And there's people that die underwater. Start drowning.
Well, I mean,
they pull you out of the water and they revive you, and then you want to try it again. And if you say hell yeah, and then you jump back in the water and
you're Navy SEAL material.
Yeah.
Well,
but
that one woman that makes it, I'll be the one that probably trains her because I know all the stuff and I know it from both a male and female perspective.
Exactly, you'd be the perfect one.
So if anyone out there wants to be in the SEALs and you're a female, between the age of 16 and 25, if you want to do it, I can train you and I'll get you through there and you'll make it. I'll throw that gauntlet down. But again, remember I said it costs money to get to that door?
Yeah.
Yep.
There's going to be a cost to it. And so if you want to do it, I'm going to give you all the training and I'm going to push you and I'll do this and I'll do that. But it'll cost you. So nothing's for free,
Well, that is.
I would love to see the first Navy SEAL.
Yeah, everyone.
I just can't imagine the level of absolute badass she would be. I mean, because a Navy SEAL's
she's out there. I know she's out there right now, walking on the earth. And there's probably a whole bunch of them. But how many of them, if they're that caliber an athlete, were they going to join the Navy? Or are they going to go to the Olympics?
They're probably going to be. I was just about to say they're probably going to be a professional athlete.
They're going to go beat Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
How come Ronda Rousey?
Exactly.
Awesome. How come Ronda Rousey didn't join the Navy and try to become a SEAL?
Because she can make millions in WWE right now.
And so there's that's why I said, if you really want to do this, and I'll give you the test, it'll be a 1 hour long test. You pass that first test, and I say, okay, it's almost like the Karate Master.
Yeah.
Do you really want to be here? Or it'd be better yet, would be like Fight Club. Remember when they were on the front porch?
Yeah.
And they kept coming out and tormenting and they had to stand there with no food and water on the porch for like 3 days.
It sounds like Navy SEAL training.
Well, this is, if you really want to be here, then it's going to be a little bit of a test.
And
then if you pass the first couple of tests, and I say, okay, well, let's start doing the real training now. And then I'll get you up to that point that you'll make it through the training.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, it's
but it'll never happen because they're going to
I would love to.
I know, we're like Ronda Rousey, sign up.
I can see it right now. I can see the awesome documentary that could be made of Kristin Beck training
Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, the possible first Navy SEAL female.
Maybe
that be great? I mean, people would watch that.
Oh, God, they would.
Or if you,
what did they call it? Reality TV?
Yeah.
Is it really real though? I
I
know people that work in the industry. It's really not real.
No, hell no.
I would do a real one. This will be real life.
You and Tim Kennedy could team up and train.
Yeah, you could get
no prize at the end. The prize at the end is a cup of coffee.
Right.
You know,
fist bump.
So it's not competition.
Good job.
You're not competing against anybody else. You're competing against yourself. You know. So this is a reality TV show because they have $1 million at the end, and you have all these alliances, all these little games they play. That's not reality. It has nothing to do with reality. That's a game.
Well, and the whole situation isn't
a real reality TV show, I would make that show.
Oh, I would watch it.
We would watch the shit out of it.
It would be on our schedule. Well, can we ask you a few of these listener questions? We got a shit ton for you.
Yeah.
I want to start off. He's actually a good buddy of mine, and he's a huge fan of yours, and he's a big part of our show. He said, his name's Patrick, and he said, Kristin, because you've lived life as a soldier, husband, father, and a woman, has anyone ever really known you prior to you living as your true self? Finally, I want you to know I respect the hell out of you, Kristin. I'm sure I'll have more questions in the future. Thank you for standing in front of my freedom and never stopping your fight. You are truly inspiring.
That's pretty awesome. Thank you, Patrick. Mm-hmm. And can I say, do they call you Pat for short? That's been my first question.
We call him Muddy. Is his nickname Muddy?
Okay, good. Because Pat would be one of those names that I would never pick for myself. Get it?
I know. I know. Yeah, I can't ever call anybody Pat.
Yeah. So Patrick, thanks, man. That's really cool. I honestly could say that probably in my death, when people read all the stuff that I have put together in this really huge book, there might be somebody that will figure out the whole puzzle. I don't think anybody, my wife doesn't know me. There's still a lot of things I have trapped and just locked away that I can't really talk about to people. It's too emotional. It's harsh. Yeah. But a lot of it's written down and nobody's ever read it.
Wow.
And so when I die, there'll be a box that somebody will get, and they'll open that up, and there's going to be a ton of stuff I wrote down. And it'll be about a lot of the real stuff and stuff I can't talk about.
Wow, that reminds me so much. I mean, I know I did too. I've got them right now, but that's similar to Robin Olds. I'm sure you know who he was from the Air Force, who's a fighter pilot, World War II. And his book, he passed away, and his daughter finished his book. And it blew me away. I mean, he had he had like scrap notes, and
but it was stuff
people
that his daughter
pieced
didn't
it together
know about.
And it was you can ask Brooke. I listened to it on audiobook for over and over for probably 6 months. But
which is funny because I'm doing a lot of it audio because I want people to hear it in my voice.
Yeah.
Oh, got to. It's way more impactful. It's so impactful.
And I get into some deep stuff. I mean, I jumped into a little bit because I keep getting you guys off track. But so you heard a little bit about the spirituality, about the other stuff. But there's a lot. It's just so hard to talk about.
I mean, I don't think anybody would even try to, pass any judgment on that.
No, I can't even imagine everything. Yeah, I mean.
What do you?
So when I'm long gone and I'm buried, and then people start looking at it and going, "Holy shit, this is what she really thought, or this is what he really thought, or this is what Because I don't believe in gender, and this is one of the things that I write about a lot. I don't like God's image. And the spirit, I talk about a lot of spirituality in our soul, whatever name you want to put on it. It's energy, it's soul, spirit. But in God comes with a lot of different names. The All-Father, which is what I love the most. I like to just say the All-Father. Mm-hmm. So the All-Father's image, we're all made in that image. And that image is not the flesh and bone. The image is not gender. The image is not white or black. Mm-hmm. The image of the All-Father, the image of God, is so much deeper than that. And it's deeper than our minds, the intellect. Our spirit energy is it. It's the spark of life. That's the image.
That's your, and I didn't even touch on it, but I've talked to Brooke about it. The way that when I get into conversations with people about, especially now, because so many people know about you and your story about the word transgender, I've really learned about everything that I know rationally now about transgender. I learned from following you. And I like your two-spirit
Ooh, don't do that.
Analogy.
You need to get a lot more information than that.
Well, I know, but I've got to say it because it really is how I think it makes it easier for people to understand. Yeah. Instead of it being so hard and it's so complex that people are scared to say something wrong, why not just say that the two-spirit? And that just makes it easy.
Because I really am two-spirit. Mm-hmm. And what if my spark is a little bit pink and sometimes a little blue? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you want to put labels and crap on it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't believe any. I hate all the labels. I I don't despise it, but I do not like the term transgender because I'm not transing into anything.
Mm-hmm.
You're just you.
My spark, my inner soul, the energy spark, the spiritual spark, didn't change. There's no change to that. You know, I might help it along. I might make it better. I might make it brighter. I might make it duller. You know, I might make it. There's things that I can do to fulfill whatever my destiny is, whatever my job is here on Earth. But for the 70 years I'm here, I'm not changing into anything.
Well, no,
I'm trans anything.
And how is that?
I hate the term transgender. It really makes sense to me.
How is that?
I don't believe in transition. I don't believe in change. For us as human beings in this body, and in the gender part, I already told you what I think about gender.
It's irrelevant.
So it's irrelevant.
Well, so how does
you're talking about two irrelevant things mashed together to make sense out of something that doesn't even make any sense?
Well, and it's more for everybody else. I think the term is more for everybody else because obviously you're fully comfortable in everything that's going on, and it's not about gender. It's more about what's inside, and but. I think, and that's why it kind of makes me cringe, that term, because I feel like anybody that's in the situation where, you know, maybe you're like, I don't know. I feel you there.
Well, I mean, my question
but
is.
Then you ask yourself is, why do I dress in that cute dress?
Well, I don't really even ask myself.
You dress way cuter than I do.
I don't even ask that question.
Like Matrix questions,
Kristin, because
then why do you do what you do?
You know, you look at
Neo.
You can look at me. I'm a big guy. You know, love to lift weights. Got covered in tattoos, big beard, all the typical stuff. But
I've seen photos.
But if me and Brooke. Or if somebody's asking us what movie we want to watch, I'm going to pick the romantic comedy. She's going to pick the horror movie. Yeah. If we go, if we go out and
Princess Bride, please say Princess Bride.
Oh well,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I mean, and
that's my favorite movie.
That's
oh my
God.
God.
That's top.
It's no different to me than that. Like there's, you know, when you say if your spark is blue and pink. If people are honest, everyone's is a little bit of both.
Well, and our son too, like his favorite, and it's funny because like, you know, our son, he loves what he loves. He loves a lot of boy shit. He loves a ton of girl shit. I mean, like his favorite thing to do, and I love it. I want him to be happy. I want him to do what makes him happy. And so like some of his favorite things to do at his school, they have all kind of, his favorite thing in the world, by the way, is like dress up in any capacity. Like he's sleeping right now in an Ant-Man costume, but like and he's got like
I like Ant-Man.
It could easily be a pink dress.
It could easily be. We also have like, you know, Doc McStuffins and dresses and stuff for him to dress up in because he just loves it. And like the first time Randall came to pick him up at school and he was in like a princess dress, the teachers freaked out thinking that Randall was going to be upset. And he's like, Daddy, like, aren't I pretty? And he's like, you look gorgeous, buddy. Like,
that's so awesome.
And so like, I just, and I love that about Randall and I love that about Gunnar.
He might grow up to be a thespian.
He very well could be. I mean, his preschool teachers were telling me you need to put him in acting classes, girl.
Yeah, awesome.
But like, I love seeing that in him, and I just want him to never lose that. Like, I don't.
Yeah, me either. I don't want you.
Spirit.
Yes, like just love what you love, no matter what anybody says. Like, I love it.
That's awesome.
What you got next one, babe?
Oh, I have the next one.
The listeners, yeah.
Holy moly, what do I have? All right.
Did you see my latest tweet about becoming a supervillain?
I did, but you need an agent, and I'll be your agent or a manager.
Becoming a supervillain?
Yeah, because Caitlyn Jenner, I'll tell her the story. Caitlyn Jenner said they should write her a part in like a next comic book movie because she could be a super badass.
Oh, a superhero? Oh, and you're going to be the supervillain?
No,
she wants to be a supervillain.
Ah.
And everybody's just totally bagging on her. And it's like, okay, you did reality TV show. I have more experience acting than she does.
Oh, 100%. And you did it with real.
If you think about it, I had to act as a Taliban dude in Taliban getting ready to be shot in the head. I don't think she's ever had that kind of pressure.
No, you should have 50,000 Oscars.
She hasn't had the pressure of guns to her, like, having to pass it off,
so
or you die.
Life and death. I went to the farm doing all the CIA courses. And so talk about acting, you know, when you're trying to get through some checkpoint and you're somebody else, you have a different name, different everything, and you have to have all these memorized lines, all the other stuff. And if you screw up once, you're dead.
That's crazy. I can't
So
even
yeah, talk
imagine.
about acting. I don't know if any actors really. Well, maybe some, but yeah, I have some acting experience.
I would
think I have
think
more
so.
than she does. And
Yeah.
I think I'm a better villain. Man, I'll tell you what, I'm mean, motherfucker.
Oh, you get the part. If I have anything to do with it, 100%.
Yeah.
It's your part.
But I want my lair is going to be a back room of a butcher shop. And I sleep all during the day, and I have wolves guarding me during the daytime when I'm sleeping. And I only come out at night. And I'm an expert with explosives and disguises because that's what I did in SEALs, both. Yeah. So
that's
I can use a lot of my SEAL team experience and really be super realistic about it because I did it in real life.
I love it.
So
perfect.
But my favorite hand-to-hand, like real close-in weapon would definitely be a machete.
Oh, so okay.
But it's an electric machete, and I can
electric
turn
machete.
It on.
What's an electric machete? Is
it's like your mini saw, right?
Shock. Well, I want to. Do you ever play Fallout? I'm a gamer. So I want it to be a shock.
My stepson probably does.
It's cutting through you, it's shocking the crap out of you.
Yeah, Griffin probably does.
Brutal.
Yeah, that's
so it sparks and shocking. It's going and it kind of lights up really cool.
That sounds incredible.
Like this blue weird spark.
So do you watch The Walking Dead? That just made me think about killing zombies. Do you watch The Walking Dead?
Oh my God, zombies are awesome.
I know, right?
I want to be a zombie when I grow up.
The Walking Dead's my most favorite show in the whole world.
I just sidetracked you guys again. I'm sorry.
I know.
No, heck.
This is what we do.
It makes it fun. Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is kind of our life. We just are like.
Hey, can we do another one of these? But we'll do it in person with beers.
Absolutely.
Please.
Absolutely.
Yes, we've been having beers as we're talking now, so we're kind of having beers with you.
Yep.
And I'm not drinking because I wanted to not curse as much.
Well,
hey, we curse
as
all
much as
the fucking time. You're absolutely.
So I'm having a few friends to my farm, and we do a bunch of shooting and drinking. Well, shooting first and then drinking later.
Oh, yeah.
And bonfires. And one of them is a Medal of Honor recipient. Another one is a super famous SEAL team guy who killed a really high level terrorist.
Wow.
You can guess maybe who
Saddam Hussein.
No, not Saddam Hussein.
Osama
bin Laden.
Oh, Osama bin Laden.
So
he was hung on TV.
I have a whole bunch of people all showing up on my farm to do some shooting and drinking and chilling out and talking.
Oh.
So you guys should show up for that.
Oh, please.
We
are in.
I'm already there. I'm about to knock on your door.
360-degree range. You can pretty much shoot anywhere you want, any direction.
Oh, that's my
dream. I set up all these targets through these point man courses. So you have to like find stuff and shoot stuff and run as you're going. Yeah. And there's tripwire, so don't trip.
Oh my gosh.
Not at all.
Stuff that's like halfway, so it'll catch you.
Oh no, I still need some more. Randall's just getting me into where because I've
gotten her into guns, Kristin. I'm starting to get her into them.
I've been kind of scared of guns, Kristin, if I'm being honest, because I didn't have a lot of experience with them. So it made me. I was scared of them. So Randall. I mean, we've got several that are Randall's, but we've gone to the gun range recently, and I get kind of shaky at first. But he said, I mean,
she's a great shot.
Once I get going, he's like, "You're a better shot."
She's much steadier than me. I'm honest.
Well, the thing about gun fear, I look at it like how a lot of people are afraid of heights. I'm not afraid of heights. Heights aren't a big deal, but I'm afraid of widths. So really wide stuff scares the crap out of me.
Really?
But being scared of guns is almost like being scared of widths. It doesn't really make any sense when you really think about it.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I feel like
it's a Stephen Wright joke. I'm not afraid of widths. I'm not afraid of heights. I'm afraid of widths. But the thing is like the gun fear is if you get some training on it, you get some safety courses, you go through it, and you understand the mechanisms of safety and you're handling it correctly, there's really nothing to really be afraid of.
Well, and that's exactly what I told him.
That's what I love about the NRA.
Yeah,
the NRA has some great training courses, some really good safety courses. And I love the NRA of the 1970s when I was growing up.
Sure.
Because they weren't political.
Yeah, totally different organization.
It was educational based.
It was educational.
Yeah.
And they stayed out of politics.
Well, and that's
kind of... I wish we could go back to the 1970s NRA.
Right.
Oh, me too. I agree with that 1,000%. Now they're just,
it's money
sadly,
and
it's a big,
it's a corporation.
It's a special interest group, you know?
Yeah.
It's money and power. That's all. And it's really shameful.
Well, that's
they need to go back to the 1970s and just do the training courses and safety courses and this and give out certificates and do shooting competitions like they used to do. I don't like the NRA anymore.
Well, I've got a question now that you've spun off since you got us off track once. No, I'm going to go because now I'm all in. In SEAL training, when you're in buds, is it? I've seen this like in movies, so it may not be true, but they'll fire real or false rounds really close all day long by your head, so you get used to that adrenaline dump of all the noise. Because I think what gets her with guns,
that's exactly it,
is the adrenaline dump.
They lay you down out in the field, and there's targets like over just like right above you, like a couple of feet above you, and they shoot those targets right above you.
Good God!
From far away, so they're shooting from.
Yeah. So they're shooting. They do a whole bunch of shooting.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Right over top of you. Wow. So you get to, what the crack sounds like. It's basically the bullets flying supersonic. So you start here, and here's the bang, there's the crack, there's that, and then they start doing it. So that's effective fire because it's right there, right on you.
That's even worse.
And then you do ineffective, so it's further out, so the crack is different. And so then you kind of learn, this is what it sounds like if you're getting shot and they're going to hit you. This is effective fire. It's like right there. And then this is what ineffective fire sounds like.
That's crazy.
I just got so much anxiety.
But you get used to all the sounds. Like somebody could shoot, if they were shooting at me and it was 25 feet away, I know about how far the bullet's away from me.
Yeah.
And they're shooting 5 feet away from me and hitting like right next to me 5 feet. I know what that sounds like. Well, and so I'm able to kind of understand what's going on with the bullet.
That makes total sense.
And I know if I got to duck or I got to do something else, or if I can just stand there and flip them off the finger because I know it's not going to hit.
Well, so what kind of
ineffective, and I just go big F you.
What kind of training did you do for Lady Valor when you were literally with some of your?
In the
I believe
heels?
they're your the former your buddies, Navy SEAL buddies, and you're running a course. In heels, for one, I'm 39.
It was dumb, man. It was the dumbest thing I ever did.
But you did it perfectly.
I'm thinking Laura Croft Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Because I dig Laura Croft. I think she's awesome.
She's a badass, yeah.
And so I was
she had hiking boots on,
they're going to be filming me and we're doing this training. We'll be running around with those guns and stuff. I'm going, Laura Croft. And so I bought those boots, that day. So I only had them for like a couple of hours.
Well, there's your mistake right there.
If I had other boots, I had a pair of Chuck Taylors to choose from, or I had Doc Martens, or they had these stupid Laura Croft boots. So I was going to go with the Doc Martens, which makes sense. But then I was like, Laura Croft, man, she's so freaking hot. And I really like her. And they're filming, and so I put the dumb Laura Croft boots on.
Well, you looked hot doing it, though. So
it doesn't make any sense.
But you still outshot them because even one of your buddies was like, I mean, she's out there, and even in those ridiculous shoes,
it blew me away. Just that you were upright. Ass. How did you not fall? That's incredible.
So wait, so it was hot?
I thought it looked hot because you had like glam. I mean, you were like to the nines out there, but then like with the vest on, like I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
No, it was super badass.
Did you see when I broke my fingernail? I had the gun.
Yep.
And he zoomed in, my fingernail was all broken. I'm just going, see that?
Well, that's what I love. I actually, that was a part that like you don't really talk about much in the documentary, but like you always have your nails done and stuff. But there's always like when they're zooming in on like you're doing when you're doing work at the healing grounds and stuff and doing all kind of other stuff, like your nails are always a little bit chipped, and that is 100% always how mine are. Always.
It's realistic. See, real TV.
Exactly.
It's like, what do you call it? Reality TV?
Yeah.
It's real reality.
Because you're actually doing shit with your hands.
Yeah, driving backhoes and digging huge holes and shooting guns.
That's what a real working woman's hands looks like. Got your nails done, but they got chips in it.
It happens. Yeah. So I was working on my car today. I was like wrenching and I'm tearing stuff apart. And like last week I was working on a Harley and I'm wrenching. I'm getting all greasy and it's all. And so my nails, I go in to like try to get them cleaned up. And I'm getting like a pedicure, manicure, all the stuff, which I don't do very often. But it's actually kind of nice to have like just clean everything, make it all good, get all the
so that I can go destroy it.
So dudes, don't ever underestimate a pedicure. That when you're with your lady that night, she's going to notice. And it's like you really took care of yourself. She's going to be really happy, and you'll have the best night of your life.
My feet are super soft like a baby's.
Randall takes very good care of his feet. So, and I've always been real weird about like guys' hands and feet, and like, but that's one of the first things I noticed about Randall was his hands are amazing, and they're ginormous, like bear paws, but like very well manicured.
But he's not all craggly. And
exactly.
He rubs your arm in like a loving way.
Yes,
it's not like giving you third-degree burns with like 80 grit sandpaper.
Well, this is a perfect segue to this next question, and I hope you're okay with it, Kristen. It says, Chief, I worry all the time that I'm not sexually satisfying my wife. Being that you've experienced sex in both the male and female dynamic, what pointers can you give me? I hope this isn't taken as rude.
No, it's not rude at all. It's a great question. I'll tell you what. So being on both sides of the equation, after hormones and after all the body changes and stuff happens, the nerve endings and things that happen to me that I know that women naturally have are like 1,000 times more than a man's.
Mm-hmm.
And so touch her more, way foreplay, not
I'm writing this down as you say it.
But so much more foreplay, and women have their sensitivity is times 1,000 than what you have. So just 5 minutes of foreplay, she'll be in heaven.
Yeah.
But dudes suck. They basically do like 30 seconds, and they're like,
because they want to get to their shit.
Yeah.
They want to be like, just let me put it in.
Their 30 seconds of foreplay is already too much for them.
Yeah.
So 30 seconds isn't enough, guys.
Yeah.
So
Amen.
do a stopwatch or set your iPhone and do a 5-minute timer so it dings at 5 minutes, and don't do anything except take her and foreplay until that thing goes off and it dings.
Put some work in for 5 minutes.
Yeah. 5 minutes is not a lot.
Did y'all see my pencil on fire as I was writing all those notes? I wrote it down verbatim.
Baby, you are fine. You do just fine in that department.
I'm still
5 minutes. Just go 5 minutes. I want to give one for the ladies now. So this is one when I just taught the universities, and I say to the ladies, I say, ladies, here's where you're messing up. And just like I do with my dog, you don't reward bad behavior from the dog. When the dog does something bad, you whack him with a newspaper. So when the dude is being kind of a jerk, so he's not talking to you right, or he's doing whatever, and he's being a jerk, you know what the ladies do? They get all dressed up and they get really pretty. They put extra perfume on and they start babying him and rub his feet because he's being a jerk. And say, hold on, wait, don't do that. So if he's being a jerk, put your flannel shirt on, a pair of sweatpants on, and have your cigarette hang out of your mouth with the ashes falling, and your hair is all screwed up, and say, you're being a jerk, I'm not even going to dress up. Mm-hmm. And then you walk away.
That's totally legit.
Damn. Do not reward bad behavior.
And then when he is being a good guy, when he's being cool, and he's taking care of you and being nice, then you dress up and take him out to dinner.
Hey,
I love it.
Do you see the difference?
Absolutely.
I absolutely do. And then I just look at Randall like,
women always, when the guy's being a jerk, that's why guys think that, well, women love the jerks because they're always nice to me when I'm being a jerk. No, they're not. It's because they don't understand the mentality of the dude. Yeah. That when you get reward by your bad behavior, by you being a jerk, because she's just trying to be nice to you because she feels bad for you because something's going on in your life that she's trying to help you out. It's the difference in how we think about it. And so women see him having a hard time. He's being a jerk. So we caress him and try to make him feel better. So maybe he'll start being nice.
Oh, my God.
But it's not the way to do it. Hit him with a newspaper, wear your freaking sweatpants and your flannel shirt, and walk away.
Oh, I'm not trying to punish you, babe. I just like to be comfortable.
Well, I'm super nice to you.
I know, but I'm saying I don't ever dress up really.
So my phone just wants a low battery. I don't know if you heard the ding.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, what do you got? Because I got one more question after yours, and we can try to get it.
No, you can just go, baby. Her phone battery's going dead.
Well, let's just talk until my phone dies, and I'll just go blink. When you hear me just go silent, you know it died.
Oh,
perfect.
I'm at my mother's-in-law. I don't have my chargers and all this stuff.
All right, so what was the end goal in applying for a job at the Trump administration?
The end goal.
I got so much flack for that. So that's a great question. And I got flack from protesters. And here's the thing is, there's a whole group of people, and I think the younger generation are totally missing this point. You have protesters. They're the ones that are like the resistors and all the ones that just hate Trump, and they tweet every day about how terrible a human being he is and he's a Nazi. Those are protesters. When you're doing a big middle finger yelling, you have signs. That's protesting. And I want protesters. I love protesters. But not everyone can be a protester. Because if I was protesting and I kept tweeting and doing all this stuff and my big middle finger at Trump, would I ever have a conversation with General Kelly?
Mm-hmm.
No. And that's why I agree with your
Activist.
tactics.
Right.
And so the younger generation is growing up being told that protester and you're going to be angry and you're going to jump up and down and you're going to throw rocks. And I said, that's a tactic. And it's a great tactic and we need it. But if you look at the overall plan and his strategies and bring them all together, I want you to protest because I want some pressure. But I'm an activist. And so I need to be on the inside. I have to have open dialogue with the enemy or with the person I'm having some problem with or with everything else. So my open dialogue is maintained because I'm kind of cordial. I know what I feel. I know how I think. But I'm not going to ever let anybody know that except for a couple of really close friends. And they know the true story. And it's all written down, too. It'll be in that box. You can read it when I'm gone. But the thing is I'm an activist, and I have to have open dialogue.
Well, that's your whole career.
Dialogue, that's what everything is about that. And so all the protesters, a whole bunch of people were so angry. Why would you ever want to work for Trump? And you're a Nazi. And they started calling me a Nazi. And I was like, whoa, wait a second.
Who's a Nazi?
Have you ever heard have you ever heard of Schindler? So, I mean, there's people that were there working within the German, in 1938, 39, 40, all the way through the entire war. They were working on the inside doing some amazing, amazing work. But they had to be there. Because they had to save as many as they could, or at least try to move the train in a direction or do something. The train's going to go off the rails if all we do is protest.
I agree. And that's why when...
And so I'm an activist. And so the angle for me is I want conversation. I want to talk to them. And I want to say, hey, look, I'm going to give them all the pros and cons. I want to say, here's what we got. Here's what we got. Here's where I am. And right now he's looking in a dictionary and he looks up transgender. Or he's listening to Caitlyn Jenner and that's what he sees as transgender. And that's not what transgender is.
No.
Sure.
The transgender in a dictionary is not me. Transgender in a dictionary is not like Jenny Boylan or a whole bunch of other friends and some great people out there who are transgender. There are two-spirit. There are all kinds of other people out there. Yeah. So if all he's getting is a one-dimensional dictionary definition of what transgender is and a one-dimensional Caitlyn Jenner, that's not even 2 dimensions. That's like 1.1. And so I want to give him 6 dimensions. I want to give him 20 dimensions. I want to say that this is what it all is about, and I'm an American. And America is about liberty. And if my individual liberty is not hurting you and my individual liberty is me, Kristin Beck, this is what I fought for. This is the big Statue of Liberty. This is the American values is liberty. If you want to take America and boil it down into one word, it's liberty.
Yeah.
It's freedom. It's me. And liberty is the ability for me to live my life without the oppression of the laws or the government or other overbearing infrastructures of things. It's without that oppression. So if I could live without that oppression of all these laws and all these things that don't make any sense, then that's me living my liberty. And what he's doing right now is he's trying to take away that liberty.
Yep.
And it doesn't make any sense because my liberty is not hurting anybody.
No.
My liberty has no bearing on anyone except, maybe a couple of, religious zealots.
It doesn't even have an effect on them. They make it have an effect on them, and it doesn't. It doesn't really.
Because they're a bunch of cousins fighting over.
Exactly. They want to make it a problem because they don't understand it. I want to have a
conversation with them about liberty. I want to have the conversation. It has to be open, and I want the younger generation to understand. If all of you grow up to be like Michael Hogg is a great example. He's a great protester, but he's not an activist. And I want him to be an activist. I want the younger generation to understand the difference between a protester and an activist and an advocate. There's even another section of that. But I want more activists.
I
want you to have open dialogue. I want you to talk. I want you to have conversations. I want you to study the other side. I want you to know why they're doing what they're doing, what's their motivations, and to see if you can make their motivation. Well, you're wrong. We can get to the end goal. You want this, right? We can get to the end goal. You go around that side of the mountain. I'll go around this side of the mountain, and we're both at the goal, and we can do it. So I want the younger generation to become activists more so than protesters. They're all protesters. I think everyone that's like 30 years and younger age, that entire age group, every single one of them is a protester. I don't want one of them to prove me wrong.
It's all that outrage culture. Yeah,
nobody's going to prove you wrong.
It's the worst.
That's 100%
What was the actual
right.
position you applied for?
It's classified.
Oh.
I don't think, is it
My
really?
bad.
I don't.
That's like, if you ever hear anybody say that to you,
Yeah.
they're full of shit.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I just couldn't remember
That's
the
why
name
I'm like,
of it.
Especially, hey, can I see your DD-14? Your DD-214? It's classified.
That's just your
if you-
discharge
Dude,
papers, isn't
it's
it?
unclassified. Just tell me what the position was.
Right.
No, it was like, I applied for a science and technology research position, stuff that I was doing. And so for me, it was more just being present.
Yeah.
That's just
just
getting
being
you into
there.
the room.
In the conversation.
To walk into the room and have a seat at the table.
Yeah.
It
And
made
at the
total
beginning,
sense
it
to
would've been
me
any
from the
table.
jump.
but I'm very competent and I'm really good at what I do.
Yeah.
And so I might have been at a small table.
And you've got the experience?
After a year or two, I would have been at the big table.
Yeah. Well, fuck.
Well, I want to get this question in before Kristen's phone dies. But this listener wants to know what type of programs or groups do you promote that help children that are dealing with transgender or LGBTQ issues?
Yeah, it's a great question. And so I think the biggest one I work with would be PFLAG. So it's parents and friends of lesbian and gay, and it's an old organization. They've been around for like 40 or 50 years. But that's my most favorite organization because they have educational materials. They have everything, and then they have a lot of parents who have been through it and they understand it. So they can talk to parents, new parents that they just find out that they have a son or a daughter, or they have, who's gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual, queer. There's the new parents it's very confusing because they don't have the knowledge. There's no rule book and there's no so they have to go somewhere to try to find the rule book or the training manuals or anything else, whatever you want to call it. But at PFLAG, they have the information and they have people that have lived through this and people who have done it. They also have a lot of parents that are part of PFLAG that have had, young kids who came out as gay and were severely bullied and then ended up ending their lives.
Oh my God.
So there's a lot of parents that have lost children to the bullying. And this is one of the biggest things I work on is the young kids who are bullied and they just don't know who they are and they're trying to find themselves and they just can't do it. They can't even live, with themselves in an environment of such hostile bullying, especially with the online, social media, everything else.
Brutal.
It's horrific.
Yeah.
And so that's a big part of the generation I also try to reach. And I work with PFLAG on everything I can do. We're actually writing a comic book right now and I'm working with PFLAG. Yes. And it'll be free and you can, get it through the PFLAG organization. And it's one for, it's aimed at kind of the middle school age group. And, it's a comic book. And so there's a superhero in there. And, it's strangely patterned a lot after a Navy SEAL and some other stuff that's going on. But it's just trying to show you that you can be anything and you can do these things and you can do amazing, amazing things. But you have to get there. And so if you're in 7th grade and you're getting bullied, you have to get to 8th grade and 9th grade and graduate from high school. Go to college and join the military or do this. And then when you're 30 years old, you're going to meet this amazing person and you get married. And then you have kids and you start raising your own kids. But you have to get there.
Yeah, you got to get past the insecure part of your life. I mean, once you get past a certain point, and so you can get comfortable. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I've got to give a shout. I love that whole story. And I wrote that organization down because that's something that I would like to support.
Yeah.
But
and then there's HRC and there's the Trevor Project is awesome. I mean, there's tons of them. San Francisco, as far as veteran service organizations, there's a lot of really huge organizations out there. The VFW and Wounded Warrior Project. There's a ton of really huge ones. The ones I love the most are the local.
Yeah.
And there's a group in San Francisco that have been around now for 30 or 40 or 50 years. They've been around a long time since the Vietnam War. As a Vietnam veteran started it, called Swords to Plowshares. So if you live in the San Francisco area, anyone out there listening, look up Swords to Plowshares. And if you run a veteran organization and it's kind of big or it's small or it's anything, Swords to Plowshares is the great example of how to be an amazing local veteran service organization. They serve their community, they live in a community, they're all community members, and they're amazing. And such great people work there.
That's awesome.
That, I wish more of these organizations would stop trying to be so big or to be national. I love the regional and the local groups are just the best.
More impact.
That brings me, I've got to give a shout out to our buddy, and I was wanting to pass this along to you because it's such a good
it seems right up her alley.
Little company is Richard Tillman is the author and owner of Lunatics, and it's a children's book series, and it's all about inclusion, bullying. They're really good messages. It's really more for kids probably up to I don't know, 3rd grade, I think.
Grade school, yeah.
But it's such a great, and he's a small, he operates it all himself, and he goes to hospitals and does readings and donates books to the kids. And every set that's purchased, he gives, the set of 5 books is $35. 5 of that dollars every quarter, he'll change it up that goes to a charity like Camp Experience.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And
Camp Experience is like where they take kids that they've like lost a loved one
or sibling.
Sibling.
That's so
And
cool.
so
but it's the inclusion and everything that it's so important to, and that's why I love your comic book. That's what tied me into him. Is
when you talk to him, tell him to look up NSW Kids.
NSW.
So NSW Kids. It's Naval Special Warfare SEAL teams, but it goes beyond that. But there's a lot of SEALs who were killed in combat, and there's a lot of kids out there. And so NSW Kids is one of those. It's almost exactly what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a camp for all these kids to go to and try to
he
be
will
kids,
love that.
He'll
jump
so
all
it'd be a
over
good
that, I
one
bet.
if he looks into that one.
Yeah.
I'm sure they would really appreciate that.
Well, we got one question that was burning from a listener, and it is, Kristin, what is your favorite beer? Also, you are beautiful and perfect just the way you are. Don't change.
Well, no shit.
That's awesome. I would have to say Samuel Adams.
I love
Because
me
he was
some
a
Sam
brewer
Adams.
patriot.
God, Brooke loves
I
Samuel
fucking
Adams.
love Sam, especially those
Yes.
variety
I love Sammy Adams
packs.
right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love it.
I'm a Bud Light. I'm a Bud Light boring guy.
Oktoberfest, the Winterfest is
So
awesome.
good.
But Sam Adams, he was a brewer patriot. And I think the Sam Adams family, and the people that are running it right now, they're generations removed, but it's like a family. But it takes you back to like those days. It's kind of like, yeah. And so when you're drinking Sammy Adams, it's like you're drinking America.
Drinking
It's
America. Hell yeah.
This is Patriots.
Well, now,
it's almost like I'm sitting in the pub and there's Sammy Adams. Hey,
damn it, I'm going to drink Samuel Adams.
I've tried to
I've got
get
to
you
drink
to.
America. Yeah, you have.
So
You've always
I
loved it.
want to drink Patrick Henry. Hey, there's Patrick Henry over there. And you just start thinking about all these old Patriots and then think about what they were thinking of. And what were the conversations they were having in the bar when they were all sitting around drinking? And then if you're sitting there with your friends, try to have the conversations they were having back in 1770. Wouldn't that be funky? Or 1780.
Oh my God, I wouldn't
So
even know.
you're going to be Ben Franklin tonight, and I'll be Patrick Henry, and then we all just sit around drinking Sammy Adams and trying to have those conversations. And you want to talk about what America is really about,
Right?
And talk about liberty and freedom. These guys were writing all the documents that became our nation.
Oh man,
Wouldn't that be a cool conversation?
It would be awesome.
So cool.
Whenever you're sitting around drinking it, and you just designate, and then what would be cool is then everybody starts like, wait, I don't know very much about Ben Franklin. And I love how he used to do the air baths and everything. He was a funky dude. But then you start really getting into it. So you want to study the guy. And then you go back and you look at some books and you start reading stuff. So next time you meet up, you say, can I be Ben Franklin this time? And you go, okay. And they totally get into character because they studied him. Because we don't study our history and all our historical figures like that. How much do you know about Ben Franklin? Patrick Henry.
Yeah, just the basics.
Yeah, and Kristin and my dad would be best friends.
Just go through a whole bunch of them and say, how much do you really know about them and why did they write what they wrote? Our Constitution is pretty darn good.
Oh, I agree with that.
And what were they thinking in 80s? What were they thinking back in those old days that they were able to write that?
I know, right?
I don't know, but if somebody
let's study our forefathers and the guys that sat around drinking beer with Sam Adams, and let's have some conversations. But you can't have those conversations until you do a little bit of studying. So let's go back and let's read some stuff. Isn't that cool?
It's so cool.
I could do that all night. And if somebody today, our forefathers were so much smarter. If people today had to have written our Constitution, who knows what it would be like?
Yeah, but you can get in their heads. There's enough stuff written about them.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And then maybe we would have less protesters and more activists because they would have like this much knowledge about these forefathers. And this is why they have the Electoral College.
Mm-hmm.
People were jumping up and down and they hate the Electoral College.
Oh my God, every election.
Popular vote, this and that.
Every election.
There's a really good reason for the Electoral College.
Right.
It's called the tyranny of the majority.
Exactly.
There's so many things that they were thinking about. And I was like, wow, these guys were smart.
The fact that they had that kind of forethought. It's incredible. Like, and I'm I feel like I'm in, kindergarten listening to a lot of, because I've tried to get much better at like my political and historical knowledge. I rely a lot on my whole life. I've relied on my dad, and I surround myself with people that are very knowledgeable about it, so that I don't necessarily feel like I have to immerse myself in it as much, but I've definitely become more interested in it, as I think it's just how when you become older. And
she's more interested though, like for like what you're saying about the individuals and their personalities, and not the political bullshit of them. But I just heard
I'll be Patrick Henry, and you can be Sam Adams if you want to be, and you could be Ben Franklin.
But did Sam Adams brew beer?
Get in your parts.
Yeah.
Well, we've got two questions that we ask every guest that we love.
Blue.
That have to be they have to be asked to you before your phone dies. So Brooke, go ahead and ask them.
All right. So Roadhouse, American classic or overrated?
Think carefully.
Man, I was going to say American classic.
Boom. That's all you got to say.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's on the top shelf.
It's got Patrick Swayze. It's got bar fights. I mean, what the hell else do you want?
Yeah.
It's got Sam Elliott.
The older gentleman.
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott with the amazing voice.
Dude,
yeah.
Sam Elliott is just like, he's like my dad.
Dude, I could listen to Sam Elliott, and he's still so damn good looking.
And he looks the same.
He's 100, and he's still got that voice.
Jeez.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
He's the voice
and
of that
when
dinosaur.
he speaks, people listen.
Oh, God, yes.
Okay, everybody quiet.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Here he is, he's talking.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
All right, correct.
Cool.
Yes.
All right,
one more. All right, what are your thoughts on the Lionel Richie video? Hello.
Do you remember that video?
Of course.
I'm trying to remember the video. No, I don't remember the video.
Hello.
With the blind girl, and she makes the bust of his head.
Of his head.
Oh, man, yeah.
And that song
I
in
totally
general.
remember that video now. It just totally came in my head.
Because
what year was that? 1980?
It was early 80s, but we both don't think there's a bad thing anyone can say about Lionel Richie.
No, not a bit.
He's just the jam.
He's a patriot.
I said earlier he's an American treasure.
That is exactly what she said.
Really, all of it, all his emotions. He makes a song. You're like, wow.
He's so nice to people too. He's the nicest
a good guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the hard hitting.
Those are
the required questions.
You passed both of those with flying colors. So now all we got to do is we're going to head up to your farm and do the shooting.
Get some shooting and looting.
Yes, we're in.
Awesome. Well, I would love to. I mean, we would have you anytime you ever wanted. I mean, you're welcome to come on here and shoot the shit with us anytime. I can't believe we've had you this long.
I know.
It blows my mind.
Well, let's shoot for like 6 months. I have a couple of really big things happening, and let's just do another talk in like 6 months.
Yes,
we'll do it, and we'll send you a invite soon, and we'll go ahead and lock that down. We're not going to let you go on that.
Follow me, because you said you were following me for a long time.
Yeah.
My Twitter pages and all my pages are all the same. It's Valor, VALOR, the number 4 US, Valor for us. Because Valor's not for me, Valor's for us. All of us together. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I never thought about why that was your name, but that makes total sense.
Yeah.
I was reading it wrong.
Valor,
I was
if
thinking
we all live that life, and JFK said it the best, if not me, then who? And if not when, if not now, then when?
Yes.
Yep.
So if we all start thinking about that one thing that JFK said, and we all start trying to live that Valor life, then we would all be better. So it's us together is what makes Valor, not one person. It's a group effort. So my Instagram, my Twitter, all of it, if you find Valor for us, you'll find me.
And just so people know, you are your own manager, publicist, agent, secretary, like all of it, right?
Yeah, everything.
That's fucking
Until,
nuts.
Like a little while ago, I just got a speakers bureau, and I'm with leading authorities. And you'll see on my Twitter and everything else, you'll see a link, and you can look up my speaking profile and everything else.
Awesome.
And so that's the first time I've ever had anybody pick me up to try to help me with all this.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you get some help, but because that's a lot for one person to manage.
That sounds like a lot.
So they took over the speaking, but I still do all my own social media and all the other stuff. So if you see every tweet is me, every Facebook is me just sitting down there and doing my stuff.
Hell yeah.
Well, we can't thank you enough, Kristin. mean, it's an honor.
Awesome.
It's been an honor.
It has been awesome. Thank you so much.
I hope I didn't sidetrack you guys too much.
No, gosh,
no. I'm doing like little cute, like, oh.
I love it because that's. I mean, that's
how it should be.
It's kind of the name of the game on this podcast too. We just kind of.
This is like sitting around over beers and just
That's
talking.
exactly what
exactly the intention and how we. Yeah, so
awesome.
Well,
I love it.
We will reach out to you about keeping a schedule with you. And goodness gracious, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's so awesome to
so
talk
much.
to you.
We'll talk to you soon, Kristin.
Okay.
Thank you.
May the All-Father bless you.
Tell your family we said hello.
I sure will.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, she was so cool.
My tits are blown off.
I had chills half the time. Just
I don't remember a lot of it now.
I mean,
because how cool is fucking Kristin Beck?
I know. And like as soon as she's like, "Hi," I'm like, "Oh my God, it's Kristin Beck."
And as soon as that voice,
I know.
So right, it's so distinct.
Yeah.
Like, she's awesome.
I know.
That's all I can say.
I love her. You're amazing.
She's golden. Don't change a damn thing.
And now we're best friends.
We are. She's your best friend. Like Richard's my best friend.
She's my best friend. No, don't. Yeah, Richard's your best friend.
You're not taking Richard. Fuck that. Richard's my best friend. Kristin's yours. Now we're all friends,
and we're all
family, and we're close. But yeah.
I
enjoyed the shit out of that, and I had so many questions we didn't get to.
Many, but
dude. We got a legit offer to go to Kristin Beck's farm.
I'm like, okay, what day is that?
If you think I'm not, I'm gonna be like, hey, remember that time? I thought you said it was cool.
When did she even say it was?
I don't my guns.
I don't even remember when she said it was, but I'm
just going next week.
We're going to Maryland, just going to start driving around.
Yeah, gonna go to Valor Ranch.
Kristin.
Yeah. You said it was cool. Brought my AR and my shotgun and my pistola.
I mean... And if it sounds like she's got some fucking amazing company that's going to be there.
The guy that killed Osama bin Laden.
The guy that killed Osama bin Laden. I mean, is the dog going to be there too?
I'm going to shoot.
No, that was many years ago.
My mind would explode. I would be worthless. I can just picture it now because it's going to happen now. Sitting around a campfire.
We would be saying nothing.
In Maryland. Our tits hanging out of our mouths.
I have nothing.
Probably getting blitzed on beer and
we would just sit there getting so hammered because we'd feel like we have nothing to contribute.
Yeah. And then we would do something dumb like throw up or something. Like,
are we the comic relief here? Because we got nothing. Y'all are all fucking American goddamn heroes. Legit.
Yeah.
Saved all of our asses.
And I'm talking about the time that I wired the new microwave above the oven. Not quite the same.
I mean,
but man, what a cool ass person though. Doesn't make she was listening to everything we like. Just sometimes some people are just awesome.
I know, she blew me away.
I didn't expect that at all. And
the whole box thing after man,
I believe her too.
Of course,
treasures of information and secrets and
legit
feelings.
I can't even imagine the shit that she hasn't even been. I mean, like all the shit she's been through, and not even in combat, but just life in general. All like the inner struggles and everything. Like, fuck, man.
I love the whole fucking, and that's what I love about her, and how he's, or she doesn't get caught up on if people say he or she or anything. And then she's given us, based on the listener question, the sex advice.
Yes.
She answers the listener's question about his wife. But then it's like, hang on, I got to tell the women something too. For the guys.
Yeah.
Like it's
because she's had both
a wealth of
perspectives.
experience. Yeah, you got a whole well there.
Yeah.
Of questions. And now that we know she's so cool of answering them, because she answered those no problem. Mm-hmm. Now we unleash the dogs on the next one. We start getting down to some spark lube stuff.
So, what?
But you got to creep into that. I can't just.
Could we have like a conference with like Rachel and Kristin and like. We need to do it in person though. I want to. I mean, she said next time we need to do it in person with beers. We're fucking.
Oh, if she comes to Atlanta to speak, and she does, I'm gonna tweet her that we'll meet up for beers.
Or we go to Maryland. We're packing all this shit up and taking.
God,
which not like I really think that's going to happen, but I would be so
You might not.
floored if that.
I'm going.
I mean,
I want you to go with me.
I want to put that out there that we're really going to go and hang out. And
Jim is going to hear about the farm and the shooting range,
Jim
the open range.
He's in.
Jim is going to put on a wig and be Brooke. He's going to be like, I'm going, Brooke, not you.
Yeah.
Hey, girl. I'm Brooke.
I'm here.
Yeah, no, I'm so stoked about that shit, man.
No, that was so much fun.
And I love that we got to mention Lunatics. Our boy, it fit perfectly.
It was a perfect segue with what she was talking about, the comic books. And, like, yeah, I mean, it's...
Yeah, I'm going to let Richard know about the NSW kids. I mean, he's probably got a plethora of organizations that he uses.
If he doesn't know about them, that's a perfect one. I mean...
Yeah. No, I know. And if it, for gosh sakes, if those two, could do anything together, it's...
They could be best friends, too.
Oh, they
by
would
proxy of us.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with
But you can't be less best friends with us.
No, and they can't be more best friends than us.
That's what I mean.
Richard can't be better best friends with Kristin than he is with me. But he can be equal or lesser best friends with her.
Exactly. He can't have...
Maybe not equal, a little less.
Oh, wow. It's like his ears were burning.
Is it Richard just messaged?
Yes. We love you, Richard.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, I gotta get out of here and go masturbate profusely or something. I don't know. I'm confused. I don't know what I need to do.
Why are you saying that to your wife?
I'm so wound. I don't know what I'm going to do. I just can't believe we just talk with Kristin Beck.
I know. It's pretty fucking surreal.
We quit.
She's a badass American hero. I mean, for fuck's sake.
Where do we go from here? Nowhere. Nobody's cooler than that shit.
I mean, you can't say that because we've had a lot of fucking cool guests. You don't want
I'm saying no one else. Like, we can't top.
We've already done so many fucking,
We're done.
Well, we're just going to keep hitting that well.
We're just going to keep having Richard, Rachel, Kristin, and...
We can get Sharon back on, maybe.
Yeah, we'll bring Jody B on. Yeah. Maybe when Sharon will have her first public announcement.
That's what I'm saying.
On our show. She's welcome.
Maybe when she comes back out, Chris is going to be back on TV
I'd love
Sunday.
for her to come on and be like, suck my dick, bitches.
I want her to come back on our show because I'm the fucking one that has publicly been...
You saved his job.
Yeah.
I agree.
I did. It was
You shared that petition that changed the world. You were the first. You even drew up the petition.
I wish I did. It was some other chick, but yeah. All right.
I didn't move from the stool for an hour and however long.
I didn't
That
either.
never happened.
And I've had to pee for an hour.
My ass is asleep.
I know. Well, I had hey, dummy, I've told you to get a pillow from the couch when we do that. You know better.
Nah, that was awesome. That was such a good time. So
it was so fun. We love you,
get the fuck out of here. But I hope that audio translates. It sounded great.
She sounded amazing.
She sounded awesome.
Yeah.
And her phone really was dying. Did you hear it beeping? I did.
No.
Yeah, that was legit.
Her phone's dead now.
Yeah. It had beeped the second time, and that's when I knew it was like, what's the second time? Like 2% when it
probably,
beeps?
yeah. But she's on East Coast too, though, so it's almost like she's gonna go somewhere and charge it, hopefully. But all right, yeah, we gotta go. I gotta pee.
Y'all gotta listen to this one though and share it. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
All right, love you guys and suck your dicks and tug your asses and fuck you. Fuck yourself.
But wow, that was aggressive. All right, bye.